Well, welcome everybody back to another episode of Buildcast. I'm here with my co-host, Natalie Social Queen Roberts, and as always, our esteemed producer, Mr. Raul Espinosa.
Hello.
And today we have a special guest. We've got Rusty Stout, the president of JS2 Partners.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So, Rusty, why don't we start off? Tell us a little bit about yourself, name of your company, why you named it JS2, and a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, JS2 stands for my wife, Jen Stout. My real name is John. So, John, a lot of the hard, deep thoughts about that, how to go about
the creative juices there.
So, and we're partners.
And you're partners. There you go.
That's how that came about. And, we, JS2 was born out of necessity. My wife suffers from severe allergies and chemical sensitivities, and we had to build her a house that she could live in and feel comfortable. And in that process, meeting people at her clinics and stuff are like, we could do this for other people too. And so that's how it was born, out of necessity. So we've been doing it ever since.
And healthy homes.
Yes, sir. Yeah, healthy homes. That's it. That's the only way we build.
So talk about that. Well, let me back up a little bit. So,
sure.
So how did you get really focused on specifically home building? Was this something you've always done, or?
No, I started out in the commercial world, doing government contracts,
we have that in common.
Save my soul.
Natalie spent some time with the government. Yeah.
And just, I got tired of building rectangles with gray walls and, wanted to do something a little more creative. And so we started building homes, and then, switched to the healthy homes when I met Jen, and when we got married. And now everybody loves modern, so we're kind of back to rectangles with gray walls. But,
Full circle.
Full circle.
Yeah.
But so that's how we got started.
Yeah. So, and how long have you been building?
Myself, residential for about 8 years.
About 8 years.
Yeah.
And I'm curious too, in the healthy homes, with Jen's background, what was the learning curve for you all?
For me, it was immense because, you're used to being able to you kind of get in the flow.
Right.
Like once you build, you kind of know how it goes. The building process itself is the same. The materials are completely different. So it was a learning curve there, and having to step back and say, okay, I need to ask Jen instead of being the big boss guy. I need to step back and say, hey, is this okay? Is this what we need to use? Very fortunate that Jen is like a walking encyclopedia of this stuff.
Amazing.
While she was trying to get herself healthy, she studied, research. So she's like my Google in the office. I mean, she's got everything that we need. So.
That's great.
Yeah. So.
And how is it working with your wife on a daily basis?
It's awesome. I mean, this is recorded, so that's no, it is great. We work very well together. We're very good at 5 o'clock shutting the work life off.
Nice.
Doing home life, with our new son. So
wish Nancy and I were that way. Okay.
Yeah. That's a good question actually, because my wife was wanting to work here at Thrive, and I was like, man, I don't know. I've never worked with my wife before, and I wouldn't know how to handle it.
I think we have
praise to you guys for doing that.
Rusty, I think we must have maybe 8 to 10 couples that work. I mean, there's so many different families that work at Thrive.
Yeah.
The owners and I think our national sales manager, I think half of his family works here, and he's got he's got a big family. Kids. So, but yeah, so it's good to hear that you find that balance.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's cliche to say that your wife kind of changes you, but I mean, she really has helped me professionally. And so having her there at work, someone that I can lean on, vent to, and vice versa. I mean, it works out great for us.
And your inspiration, for going, this healthy building, which is incredible.
Yeah. And, I think that's what separates us. There's some other people in this space that do it, but I'm going to brag and say they don't have near as much credibility as we do. it's kind of like the hair club for men. You know, this is how I have
an interesting analogy.
Well, this is how we have to live our life. I mean, we have to have our house set up this way.
Sure.
So, you know, not only am I the president,
there you
know,
go. That's right. I knew that was coming up here.
So
yeah, we knew that was
in
coming.
setting your house up too, curious, have you evolved with the homes you've built with Jen's allergy and health issues in mind? Has that evolved over time as well?
You know, each one of our homes are truly custom. I mean, you know, we're custom builders, but even to the nth degree, because everybody's different. What's healthy for Jen might not be as healthy for the next person. So we really spend the time at the beginning talking to our clients, you know, lots of phone conversations. We make samples of everything down to the most minor detail of a house, and we send it to them and they test it and make sure it doesn't bother them. Wow. And so, I mean, that when I say every house is different, it's different. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's dig into that a little bit then. So what does that mean? Because, you know, you hear green homes and sustainability and all that kind of stuff, which is important.
Sure.
But, you know, you're really building homes specifically for individual health, you know, the health of the individuals that are buying your homes. What does that mean?
So it can mean two things. When we first started, it meant people that we met while we were trying to get Jen well in different clinics and stuff, people that suffered with the same type of sensitivities. And so it meant getting them in an environment that was stress-free first and foremost. That means using materials that they can tolerate. None of our paints have zero smell. I could paint this room and then in 30 minutes when it dries, we could be in here and doing this broadcast and nobody would be stoned. I mean, it smells like cookies, honestly. Just stuff like that. But as we've grown as a business, our clientele has grown with us. And now we get more calls from the young mothers that might not have any allergies or any sensitivities, but they know with the internet, people have access to what's going in their homes. And so they're a little bit more cognizant of that. And so we're getting more calls from people like that. So
more preventative is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
You know, you have small children. You obviously, your level of concern goes up with what you're putting in your home and in your body, and that kind of has filtered through to your buyers.
Yeah, you know, interesting thing about that is if you think about it, all of the children's stuff, most of it is geared toward protecting them from all of these chemicals and stuff. And it's like, well, why do we stop doing that when we get older? You know, why?
Like you get immunity to it or anything like that. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Other than, you know, the paint, which you've already mentioned, you know, what goes into a healthy home? I mean, is it I think you mentioned earlier, predominantly the materials, but dig into that a little bit if you wouldn't mind. Yeah.
You know, the materials are a big thing. I mean, finishes, you spend most of your time inside of the house. You know, everybody says we love outdoors. We love outdoors. Studies suggest you spend 90% of your time in your house.
Especially weeks like last week where it's 110 outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm more like 95, 97% indoor.
That baby skin.
Yeah. So, you know, we dial it down to the nth degree. You know, our drywall, normal drywall comes from a coal plant. It's a fly ash out of a coal plant, which is fairly nasty, I would imagine.
Doesn't sound good. I mean, you know,
it
doesn't that kill a canary? I mean,
I would think so. So we've sourced our drywall from an actual gypsum mine. It's mined from the earth. It's a natural product. We're very fortunate. There's one in Texas. So I was
going to say, where do you find a gypsum mine?
Yeah, it's in Roatan, however you say it. And so I give them a shout. 3 days later, I have, you know, as much drywall as I need. It's not like they make it for me, but you know what I mean? They have it there. And so a lot of stuff like that, there's some certain processes that we do to seal up, you know, like a lot of our clients would be sensitive to the smell of wood. Like, you know, they make turpentine out of pine, and that's a lot of the wood in construction is pine. So we've developed a process to seal that up before we even sheetrock a house. You know, we're able to seal that up. Our windows are triple flashed. You know, that's to me the weakest link on a home. I've seen more problems with mold and stuff on homes that didn't have proper flashing on the windows. Our showers, we take extra precaution with the showers. that's the weakest link I've ever seen on the inside of a house with more mold problems is faulty shower pans. So it's just taking those extra steps, getting the trades to buy into what we're doing. And then, our builds, we have a superintendent at that job site whenever work is going on, because there's no way that we can tell somebody without a doubt that their home only has what they want in it unless somebody's there watching the whole time. It's just how it has to be. So
one question that came up, and I was just thinking that spurs off of being a locally owned company, being a healthy home holistically, is you mentioned the gypsum and purchasing it from local. So what percentage, if any, are you guys seeing across Texas of vendors that are supplying these green materials that you're able to utilize?
Well, unfortunately, green, and I'm not trying to be rude, but green really doesn't mean anything when it comes to healthy building. And you can go to our website. My wife wrote a blog about this. There's so many labels these days that don't mean crap.
Right.
Green Guard certified. It's supposed to be nice and healthy.
It's just branding.
Yeah.
Right.
They paid someone to put that label on their product. And if you do the research and look at what's in it, it's just like the product next to it.
It's not green.
It's not
how
green.
we perceive. Yeah.
So it's a little bit deeper than that. We find products that aren't labeled green, but are natural products. They're natural from the earth. And that's what we need to be putting in these homes. We use a natural grout that we've found for our tile, and it's so natural that if you use tap water with it, it changes the color. So we've had to develop a process and trial and error. We use distilled water. There's no minerals in distilled water. So we use that to mix our grout. So now it doesn't change color. So it's just, stuff like that. It's just, getting down in the details, which makes it fun. I mean, and I think our clients appreciate that.
Now, do you have clients or do majority of them come to you because you're building healthy, or is this kind of a extra bonus once they already find you?
That's when we first started, it was strictly because we're healthy. Yeah. We've been very fortunate that people, in the community respect us. They come to us, a lot of times not even to build, just for consulting. That has since shifted now where people, they see the work that we're doing, and then they find out, oh, you build healthy. What does that mean? And we explain it to them and they're like, I want that, I want that. How much more does it cost? And then when you tell them, you break it down, it's not that much more expensive.
Well, that was going to be one of my next questions is what is the cost differential? Because I know, if you do quote unquote green building, it can get substantially more expensive for stuff that, if you're doing it, simply or purely for the ecological reasons, that's great. Yeah. But, if you're doing it for the dollars and cents reasons, it's not going to pay off.
It's typically more expensive.
Yeah, 15, 20 years.
So what we found, and again, it's different, every client is different, but what we found is about $18 a square foot difference versus like what I would call a conventional build. Generally where that is in our supervision. And what I tell potential clients is, wouldn't you want that peace of mind? How much is peace of mind worth? If you've got somebody there watching over your project all day, whenever work is going on, most builders don't do that. Some do, but most don't. And so,
especially now when, labor is such an issue and really the industry has exploded. So, interesting. So, so it's been pretty well received though, overall, you think?
Absolutely. I mean, it's growing a lot faster than we thought. And again, I keep bragging on my wife, but she is the catalyst for this. Yeah. People, when they find out that she's gone through it, and this is a very, very, tight-knit group.
Sure.
Not a lot of people understand what they're going through. So they find somebody that they can talk to that can relate. And it's funny, like our clients will call me and it's like a 10-minute conversation. They can't wait to get rid of me because I'm I'm the one that's delaying their life. I'm spending all their money. They'll call and talk to Jen and it's like an hour and a half and they're just talking about life. I know the camera can't tell, but you guys can see I get chill bumps thinking about that. That's a difference maker. And what we're doing is that the people, they become, it's cliche, but they become our family. Like when we're done, we still still talk to them. We still visit with them and stuff. So, I mean, it's amazing. It's
in that connection. I would imagine you all do outside speaking or outside education. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, you know, we do a podcast with one of the early pioneers in this space. His name is Andy Pace. He's up in Wisconsin with the Green Design Center, and they're, you know, probably the thought leaders in this deal.
Got it.
And so we're trying to get there. In that pursuit, we've been offered a book deal. And so
That's a big deal.
Yeah. We just signed that a couple of weeks ago. So we're now trying to figure out how to write a book.
Who's going to write it? You or your wife? Yeah.
It's funny. I'm full of hot air, but when it's time to put it down on paper, it's a whole nother beast. But that's exciting. You know, we one of the major problems in the healthy building is that there are some people that think that to be healthy, you have to build a house out of sticks and mud or hay bales or something. And we're trying to show that is not the case at all. You know, your house can be beautiful. It's not going to look like any other house on the block because it's going to be awesome because we built it, but it's still going to look like a conventional house. Sure. And so our book is going to be kind of geared to that, to where we're going to be able to show people we're keeping it very simple. This is the steps you can take. This is achievable. It's not going to cost you a fortune. Here's how to do it. Mm-hmm. Here's what to look for. And, you know, ultimately we want them to call us for help, but you know, we just want to give that guide.
So I think we should point out real quick though, Brian, that somebody will be pleased to know earthships are not the only healthy way to build a home.
And they don't have to look like, Raul has been on this, he introduced on one of our previous episodes, earthships, and, you know, and it's a bit of a fantastical concept, but it brings, actually, literally as Rusty was saying that, I was thinking of Raul and his earthships, but, you know, basically the point is though, is that you're building a house that has tremendous value, health value and the health benefits without it looking like, you know, some strange, creation, so to speak.
Yeah,
and it'll function.
It'll function.
Yeah, that was my question. I mean, it looks like a normal house because, I mean, earthships, you have to really be a certain type of person to get a house like that. You know what I mean? You have to. So, yeah.
Well, and you think, take it a step further. If it's not an earthship, you know, a lot of people go to tiny homes, or they go to other, you know, types of housing. So to think of Rusty and Jen building what is a perception of a traditional, or I think we didn't get on camera earlier, a mountain modern home.
That's right. Yes. Yes. So that tell us about what a mountain modern. We were talking off camera. We were talking about.
I actually missed that too. So
you did miss that. So
it's a word I invented right here at this table, I guess. I was trying to think of how Jen and I, how our style is, and we love being in the mountains. We love the snow ski and the look of that, but we also like the clean, you know, neat lines of a modern house. So our house on the outside looks kind of like a mountain lodge, and then as soon as you come in, it's more modern. So we tried to blend those two worlds, and
so you're defining
mountain modern.
Mountain modern, I love it.
But to talk about, you mentioned tiny homes. It's even more important to think about the indoor air quality of a tiny home because it's tiny. I mean, and there's really, it doesn't take long for it to fill up with whatever's in there.
Great point.
So we're actually building our first tiny house for a client. And
why am I not surprised?
Yeah. I mean, well, custom builders, right? You build what the customer wants.
So tiny homes to, you know, 6,000 square foot palatial homes on the side of the mountains.
Yeah. On the tiny home, I'm curious too. We did a previous episode with tiny homes and talking about, you know, the transition to affordable, available housing on a mass level.
Yeah.
So with the one you're building, curious if you can tell us, is it going in as a casita style, mother-in-law in the back? Is it their traditional home?
It's their traditional. It's their transition home.
Got it.
So they are trying to find a place that they try to escape seasonal allergies. Yeah. So they're just kind of going around until they, you know, find their forever home. So it's on wheels. Awesome company here locally in Austin called Volstruck. I don't know if y'all talked to them, but they manufacture these trailers and the frame out of light gauge aluminum studs. And so you're able to really put some cool stuff in the tiny home because the trailer and the frame is so light, so you can save on that weight. So we're going to be working with those guys, and so
it's like somebody we need to talk to.
Yeah,
I know.
Guys, if y'all want, they're amazing. I mean, the stuff that they're doing is really cool. That they would probably be a very great guest for you guys. So.
Well, that's what we want to try to do is explore, a lot of the alternative sides. I mean, we talk about the economics and the challenges and all that, but we also love talking about interesting new methods behind home building, that sort of thing. One thing that this whole conversation is really bringing up is obviously we're seeing a reasonable amount of people that are moving out. People want fresh, they want new, they want clean. Not that you're seeing this mass exodus from the urban core, but there's a good amount of that. So, maybe you can talk a little bit about that. I mean, I would think now it would really be on top of mind, healthy, clean homes because of COVID.
Yeah, that's 100% right. I mean, our phone has been ringing off the hook and people moving from everywhere, big cities, not so big cities, just, wanting to be. And we're very fortunate to live in Horseshoe Bay in the hill country. And when people find out and they'll come visit our house or see some of our other homes that we've built out there, and they're like, well, this isn't such a bad place. Let's move here. So it's beautiful. It's kind of neat. Yeah. So, but yeah, we've definitely got a lot more interest, and that kind of falls in line with what I was saying earlier about the young mothers or just people in general that are now like, man, we really got to think about what's our, what's in our homes, indoor air quality. So,
right.
Why do you think it's not, I mean, obviously, you have a tremendous inspiration in your wife and not everyone's going to have that. Why isn't this more prevalent, you think? I would think it would be, but
I don't know. I mean, if put on the spot, I would probably say marketing, like the big manufacturers that market their products, they have to sell stuff, and it does cost them money to take these extra steps to manufacture products without. The biggest deal in construction is formaldehyde. And that's because it makes stuff dry faster. It makes glues cure faster. And so they use it in pretty much everything. So that, it's a readily available, ingredient. So
in home building, at least, especially with the larger guys, I mean, it's a machine, and it's not easy, of course, to change that. It's what amounts to an assembly line. So, and I think the other part you mentioned is a good portion of the cost is supervision.
Yep.
And, it's hard enough when you're building a custom home, but when you've got 30, 40 homes going up in the community,
there's no way. And I tell you, the supervision where it comes into play is the trades.
Yeah.
I'm very, very lucky that we have a great team of trades that have bought into what we're doing. They enjoy working with us. But sometimes, they might run out of some adhesive, and it's not out of malice. It's about, I got to get this job done so I can get paid. They run out to the toolbox and grab a deal of liquid nails or something to finish the job. If you don't have somebody there to say, you can't use that, that's what's going to happen.
To come back is a nightmare.
And for some of our clients, that could be a death knell for their build. Wow. I mean, it's
to that level.
That they're I don't know how to describe it, but other than like being bloodhounds, just that chemical smell really sets them off. And so we pride ourselves on our house. I'll give you guys a scenario here. What happened when we first started this? We were closing on a house, and appraiser came by, and he walked in. He said, "This isn't a new home." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "It doesn't smell like paint. It doesn't smell like glue." And I've like high-five Jen. I was like, "Man, this is like." I was like, "Can you say that again?" I got my phone out. I'm trying to record him. So I mean, it's just. That's what we try to do. So
I love it. And then to that point, when we were doing our research on you and Jen, one of the things, and I think a better understanding for our listeners and for ourselves, and coming from the home building industry, is when you say holistic, are there any elements to the home? I've been hearing buzz about integration of, sound systems with meditation, or is that something that you're too?
Yeah. I mean, Jen is more on that front.
Yeah.
She helps the clients from start to finish. I mean, we take this through, if the client wants, all the way to fit and finish with furniture and fixtures and rugs and drapes and stuff. I mean, we have done the research to find that stuff. Also, you know, like you're saying, the stereo equipment that might not put off a lot of EMF type stuff, and everything being hardwired and wires not running parallel with water lines. I mean, it's like I said, I mean, we could sit here and talk all day about the
stuff
detail
that most people don't ever think about, but what impact is that really having, you know, on our health? And I love the fact that you're going through that much detail, you know, down to the materials and you know, and even the furniture, because what good is a house that is allergen free if you put in, you know, some horsehair rug or something like that, that has, you know, something nasty.
Exactly. The
it's,
thought.
It goes beyond that. I mean, it's, you know, we build someone a house. The worst thing that could happen is that, you know, when they go to clean it, they pull out the 409 and it's like, oh my God. So again, you know, this is something that's born out of necessity. We're in the process of developing our own cleaning product because
it's a natural progression.
Yeah, we had to do that for ourselves at home because we can't go buy anything off the shelf. So we've made this. Works awesome. We're working with some formulators and we've got
that is amazing.
Yeah, we've got co-packers lined up. So hopefully in a few months, you know, we can see that. You know,
we can have our next podcast on the book and the cleaning.
I don't want to give a shameless plug or anything, but
plug away. That's part of what we're here for.
It's going to be called Toxylist. So
Toxylist.
Oh my goodness.
So
once you get the first prototype, bring it on and
we'll do.
Absolutely.
Let's make a mess and then clean it up.
There we go. Natalie.
Do the infomercial, you know, we'll clean up some day.
We've got this, Raul. You dress up.
Right?
Brian will be the voiceover, Rusty and Jen.
But wait, there's more.
And you get your discounted price only on this podcast.
Well, I'm excited. I mean, this is really interesting, you know, and I'd love to see what you're doing really become more prolific, maybe outside of Marble Falls, you know, where you're building, but you know, it'd be great to see.
We're spreading out. We're trying to expand a little bit. COVID slowed that down. We're working with a client in Las Vegas, building a beautiful home. And so we're thinking about expanding west after, you know, we're past this stuff. And
so let's talk about that real quick. You know, and we're running out of time, but where do you build now? What is your build footprint currently?
Right now, that would probably be Central Texas.
Okay.
If it's the right fit, you know, clients, it has to be a fit for both parties.
Sure.
So, you know, we've done some stuff in Dallas, Houston, but right now, just because of the current climate with the pandemic, is we're trying to stay home. We also have
trade basis.
You know, we have a 5-month-old at home too. So, you know, trying to be careful about where we go and stuff like that. So,
well, because if you, in some point, presumably you'll be able to train, you know, some staff exactly to be able to, you know, supervise and, you know, that sort of thing. But right now, if you're doing so much of that yourself, you gotta keep within a smaller geographic area.
Exactly.
Keep your sanity.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the point. You know, we're not interested in the great quantity, like you said. I mean, it has to be quality. It has to be managed. And what we've found, though, you know, we do consulting too. So we'll work. I have a lot of builders have the egos and stuff in my way or the highway. We have no problem working with other builders, and we've done that where, you know, you might have someone in Chicago that really wants to healthy home, but you know, I'm not set up in Chicago. They have a builder and we work in tandem, you know, and it's basically me and Jen sharing with them the materials and then how to implement it. And it's worked really well. And we kind of envision that as being the future, where you might find some builders in these different places that really want to transition into doing what we're doing. And so we kind of envision that maybe being how we grow this, and, you know, kind of like a hybrid franchise type deal or something like that.
I feel like it's a world takeover between books, cleaning supplies, consulting.
What's
and
next?
I'm amazed. I'm impressed and I'm amazed.
Thank you. Very impressive.
Hey,
there's a lot of people back home where I grew up that are like, holy cow, this guy's just
Shocking, right?
He's done right.
You need to do a YouTube channel on. You need to do a YouTube channel.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Like, seriously,
I knew Rel would like this one. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I watch YouTube all day, and I mean, these are a lot of the videos I watch are things just like this. And I think
he literally does.
Honestly,
That's all he does all day.
It's like literally all I do.
That's a great point, actually, Ro.
No,
I love that
really
you're
good.
saying that.
Yeah,
I'm seeing home builder clients and developers, to your point, that are switching over to a paid subscription-based social media outlet.
It's probably the hardest business to market is home building. I mean, it really is. Jen has an MBA from SMU and was especially in marketing, and I mean, we're very fortunate to have that, but it's still tough to reach the people.
It is.
And so, you know, custom home building really comes down to relationships, and kind of tell our clients, you know, if you can put 3 really good custom builders, they can all build you a nice house quality. It really comes down to who can you trust for a year of your life to spend a lot of money for you? You know,
I think that's a really good point, because custom building is a relationship. You know, your typical home, not there's anything wrong with it, but it's a 30-day process. You know, when you're having a house built, especially custom, it's deeply emotional. Home buying in general is, but this is your house, your dream home in most cases. You know, and it's not going to be done in 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 months. You know, and
nor is it going to be stress-free no matter what.
I've told clients, you know, we've told people that go at some point, if all things being equal, if you can't decide, go with your gut. You know, go with who you do trust. So I'm glad you brought that up. And you build at JS2, you do what's your price point? What's your size range? I know that's not an easy question, but do you have a niche, or do you have a comfort area?
You know, we try to just do what the client wants. Like I said, I mean, we've got a multi-million-dollar lake house going right now, and it's awesome, but we're doing a tiny house too. It's equally awesome. So I guess there's not a good answer there. We could just consider ourselves a truly custom builder. You know, you do get the people that unfortunately their budget doesn't match their wish list, and you have to be the bearer of bad news sometimes. And that's generally where it comes in. It's just not doable. It's not a good fit. And, you know, unfortunately we can't do it. But
you cut back on finish out stuff like that, you know, so you don't have to cut back on, you know,
size,
you know, and I'd say we're pretty good at working with them there. We're good shoppers, you know, and so we can work with a client on a budget, you know, to show them where they might have to sacrifice a little bit here to get like, where do you spend your time? What's your most important room? And we have a 4-page questionnaire that we send out before like our first interview to kind of paint that picture of where their most important aspects of the home are. So it's a
much more involved process early on. It sounds like, you know, because usually you don't get that until you get past like a design agreement or something like that. And
that's not our style. I don't make anyone sign anything until they're ready to build. And it's not because I want their money. It's because I want to protect them and my business. So with an agreement. So we're not that, you know, we don't get upset if somebody, if I've spent months with people and then in the end, it just, you know, doesn't work out. But, you know, gained a friend, gained a relationship, and one day they might call us back.
Sometimes it does help, you know, and Natalie's heard me say before that, you know, I've learned that the best way to help myself is by helping others, you know, and as cheeky as it sounds, it is true. Yeah. So, okay. So best way to reach you?
You know, through our website, www.js2partners.com. That's the number 2. Our emails are on there. Our phone numbers are on there, and you can see some of our stuff and hear a little bit about us. So
perfect. And the book is when you can have that written?
Well, it's due for us to turn in next April, so probably sometime late next year.
So when are you going to start on it? March?
No. Well, Brian, you know, we are part of a group, and they were fortunate to talk to an author, and he gave some really good advice. He said, "Don't wait until you feel creative to write. He said, just set aside the time and get it done." So we've already hashed out the outline. So I mean, we've made some good progress there. So.
definitely need to say, in home building, you find every aspect, and you kind of see the breadth, throughout the years as we've all experienced. And the compliment doesn't come lightly. You guys are one of the good ones.
Oh, well,
Nice
thank
job.
you. Thank you.
Nice
That's,
job.
that's honestly what we strive for. It's nice to build pretty houses and be, show off and all that. But at the end of the day, we just want our people to be happy and feel like family.
Healthy,
and I know that sounds cliche, but that's really what it's about for us.
You gave me, now you're transferring goosebumps. It's a goosebump kind of day,
It
guys.
sounds like what you do every day is your passion project.
Right.
And that's rare to find.
How awesome is that, right?
Yeah,
to get to
good
make
life.
money doing what you
Doing
love
what you
and
love.
help
Hey,
other people.
Exactly. It's not work. So, well, Rusty, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time, and really look forward to seeing your success and hopefully having you back when you have your new cleaning. Tell us again, what is it called?
Toxulus.
Toxulus.
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to put a Google alert on you